Hey guys, welcome back. Okay, I wanted to do a notebook update for you guys and to show you progress in the bottom shelf of this bookshelf that I keep all my notebooks that I need to use up. My room is actually currently a mess because I am in the process of downsizing more, and so I've got a lot of stuff packed up and it's just gonna head downstairs to the basement. But today we're going to talk about notebooks. Okay, so in the past couple weeks, I've managed to finish these notebooks. It doesn't sound as extreme as it looks. Some of them were kind of ongoing for a while, and they just all happened to kind of be completed around the same time. Notebook 143, that's my personal journal. This was just a multi-papered kind of insert. Finished that one recently, so I've moved on to a new journal. This is number 2 in the journal that I'm keeping for my daughter, so it's just cards, memories, photos of her, little notes of how she's growing up, little anecdotes. This is something that I am just ongoing and keeping, so this was a good, I don't know, this was since September, and I just finished it a couple days ago. Kind of powered through, catching up 4.5 months of memories into this insert. And so I've started a new one. I'm reserving the 013 Traveler's Notebook inserts for her journal now. They were back in stock online, and so I bought a couple. And I'm not using them for myself now. I'm still working through my stash, and as much as I love that insert, at the moment I'm using those nice inserts for my daughter. So that's the plan. I've started a new one. I don't have that with me to show you, but that's ongoing. This is a scrap therapy journal where I was using kind of like more of like my prettier journal things, and this is my personal journal, my photos, very Seuss Fish inspired, and so this was kind of ongoing and in conjunction with a couple other journals that I was using at the time. So this was kind of like one of 3 journals I was using, and so that one's done. I did number it at the time that I started it. After this insert here, I went into using a sketchbook. I just covered it with paper. It had kind of like this colored paper. I bought it years ago thinking I was going to have time to sketch and draw, and I don't. So I turned it into a journal. I filled it up with a bunch of stuff. I didn't really like it much. I didn't like the paper consistency. I think mostly because I couldn't find a pen that would, I don't know, it didn't write smoothly on it. So I struggled with this journal, but I did finish it. And that was Journal 144. Managed to finish that one. This was a Daiso notebook that I used to record things that I wanted to buy, my spending habits. I put clippings of things that I wanted, talked about why I bought something, when I bought it, what the pattern was. I mean, I know by now what the pattern is, but it's a great way for me to kind of talk through my purchases, justify to myself why. And this actually has been a really great help, and I actually plan on continuing this. So this is finally filled up. It filled up a lot faster than I intended to. I had grand plans of really staying focused on way less shopping than I have been doing, and I recognize that it's just been a lot of stress shopping from the pandemic, and now just what everything is going on in the world. It's just been, the world is broken, you know? So stress shopping, yeah, this filled up quickly. So actually I'm going to start another notebook for that, and I haven't quite decided what I want to use. use, because I quite like the Daiso notebooks, and I only have 2 more left, and that's it. I quite like those. So I can't tell, like this, I'm going to talk through these notebooks later, but I'm going to be starting another notebook soon for that to replace my spending notebook. My Stranger Things notebook, this was a scribble notebook full of rants, stats about the virus, stuff. And this was scribble notebook number 9. I didn't finish this one. I'm going to let you know that, you know, just to be honest, I think I got to here. That's how much I didn't finish, because I did not enjoy this notebook. And that's the best part about your own things and your own rules. You can make up the rules as you want. I didn't like it, and so I stopped using it. But I'm going to count that as finished, because for the majority of it, I did fill it up. So that's done. And then this is my current personal journal. It's an Amazon Basics notebook. I actually had ordered a soft cover moleskin notebook, and I think the warehouse accidentally grabbed the Amazon Basics, or they didn't mark it as the moleskin being sold out or something. So I contacted customer service, and they gave me the refund, but they let me keep the notebook. I think because, well, first of all, it was their mistake, because I had ordered something, I didn't get it. And then it was also during the pandemic, so I didn't think they wanted to handle returns. And I did a pen test. I'm actually very impressed with the paper quality. I had my doubts. I was kind of just not going to use this at all. But you see shadowing as you would for dark ink, but barely any bleed through. And these are all fountain pens, so it takes fountain pen pretty well. And you know, this is a Tombow marker, and all you see is just shadowing. So I'm quite impressed with it so far. I've only written a couple pages in it, but I put a sticker on there. So that's going to be my current personal journal. I don't think I'm going to add photos to this, because it's going to bulk up so quickly, so I might start another scrap therapy journal like this with the ring bound look, and then just, you know, add all my cute Heidi Swap stuff to it. And while that became a little too much to keep up, I feel like that's the best way to do it, because otherwise this is just going to like bulk up like this with photos. And I don't know. Another thing is like they sent me an Amazon Basics, but it's like a hardcover, and I wanted a soft cover. So I don't know if Amazon Basics makes a soft cover, but anyway, it was a free notebook. So that's what's going on there. And then here's my half-empty shelf, more than half-empty shelf. Here's what I've got left. I have one of these. This is the last one that I got on clearance at Michael's. I can use the cover for scrap therapy journal, and then like I did before, I took the craft paper notebook, and then I can use that as another journal. So this is kind of like a 2-in-1. And over here I've got 3 larger notebooks. These 2 are lined. This one I think is blank paper. It's beautiful. And I plan on using these as probably personal journals. I got this one at the Emerald City Comic Con. I bought 2, so this is going to be the second one of the same cover. And while I liked it, I think it's just because it's the hardbound journal, and I, you know, tend to fill my journals up with so much stuff. It bulked up, and it doesn't lay flat. So writing on it kind of became hard. Maybe I just got to work the cover and the binding a little bit, but this is something I still have to use up. I have 2 more Daiso notebooks. and I love using these. These are the last of it. I bought a lot right before I left Washington. This was a 2-pack that I got on clearance at TJ Maxx or Marshall's a couple of years ago, and I bought them from work, for work. So I have one at work that I use for keeping notes and meetings and information like that. So I don't intend to probably use this as a personal journal. I'm going to reserve these for work. This is probably one of my first, if not the first, junk journal-y kind of thing. I never did anything with it. I just have lots of old papers that I was hoarding and saving. Eventually I'll get to this, most likely this year. I anticipate using most of this year, and then this will be pretty much empty, and that is the goal. I have a Rick Steves journal. This was actually wrapped in plastic, and I opened it a couple days ago thinking it was going to be my next journal. Lined, not my favorite. I like blank paper. But then I started flipping through it, and it was like travel information, and I had never intended to use it as a travel journal, but with everything that's going on, it just made me miss traveling a lot. So I couldn't bring myself to use it as my next journal, so that'll sit there until I'm ready. These were just taken from a very old handmade journal that I'd ripped up to make wedding invites for my wedding. And this is just the paper that's left, so I might just make this its own little mini thing. I turned them into 3 different inserts thinking I was going to add them to junk journals, but I never did that. So that's the plan for this. It's just a few pages left. And then this is another Daiso journal. I wish I had gotten more of these. I only bought the one, and then when I went back they were gone. But it's got different paper, like craft paper, and then this kind of grid with the box, and I love the format of it. I'm gonna really enjoy using this, but I'm saving that. And then I've got a dime novel field notes. This wonderful London journal. Haven't been able to bring myself to use that just yet. The whole workshop companion field note set. That's gonna be a very enjoyable set to use. I don't tend to journal in pocket size just because I fill them up so quickly, so I think for that I'm gonna save for a special thing. And then of course you guys have seen me talk about this, my beautiful birds themed junk journal that I made years ago that I'm absolutely saving for the right day to use it. Oh, and then this box, my beautiful wooden box here. Is that gonna stay open? All right. I've got another Rick Steves journal. This is the pocket size. Another line journal. I'm saving that. This was a terrible AliExpress purchase. I wanted a black paper insert, and then it just it didn't advertise that it had this weird cover on it, so I'm just gonna cover it and then use it. But I like using black paper with gel pens, so that's something that I gotta use up. This was a notebook that came with a handmade journal cover that I bought on Etsy years and years ago that I took out of that. It came with the cover, so I gotta use that. I have 2 packs of the dime novels notebooks from Field Notes. This is the plain paper, and then this is the with the craft paper cover. Those I think I reserve for writing. Many of these like little notebooks are mainly for creative writing, so I don't pressure myself to use these for journaling or to have to get rid of them. So in this box, these are just kind of little notebooks that I use whenever I please. It's not the, I need to use these up sort of mentality. This is just a little pretty planner that I had since I was a kid, so I just kind of keep that in there. And then I'm on my last year of the 5-year journal that I have. So I will be breaking into this starting day 1 of New Year 2021. So I'm very, very happy. That was gifted to me by a lovely subscriber. And I'm so excited to use it because it's so pretty and it's for moms. So I'm very, very happy to soon be able to use that one. There's a couple more little notebooks here. This one I got in London. So that makes me happy just looking at it. And then I have this tiny little sketchbook. I'm also not pressuring myself to use this. I had intended to use this as kind of like a color swatching journal for any watercolors, markers that I buy. Never got around to doing that. So I might just keep it as like a little sketchbook. I got that in Edmund's art store. So that's what sits in there. Like I said, not pressuring myself to use these notebooks up, but they sit nicely in this little box. And that is what everything looks like. This is a feed binder when they partnered up with Target, and it's supposed to be a ring-bound planner. I took out all the planner pages, I think, because I didn't use it as a planner, but I can use this as probably a cover to another junk journal and then use the paper for something else. I bought 2 of these binders because they were at some point on clearance, and I turned one into like a little recipe binder, and that really worked out. So if anything, I can always turn the second one into a nice, very compact recipe binder, and that's the plan for that, but not, I guess, considered as a notebook to use up. So just wanted to give you guys an update on what my progress is, all the things that I've finished up, what I'm currently using, and how much I still have to use up. And thank you so much for your encouraging words online, on my Instagram so far. I recently showed you just kind of what I've moved into, and, you know, journaling for yourself and not putting pressure on yourself to use something up. I think it's just keep it as a goal, but don't put too much pressure on it. Just go with it, you know, because this took a lot of practice to really rein myself in on shopping and making sure I use my stash. That's daily practice. So just keep at it. Go with the flow. Go with what you feel is right at the time. You know what I mean? So if you have any questions about my notebooks, about stationery minimalism, let me know down in the comments below. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.